that I would come on early. Hopefully I'm live. Waiting for some ones or something in the chat. Let me know that I'm live and you can hear me and see me. I know I'm supposed to have my glasses on. All right, thank you, Willie. I'll give it a couple minutes. Let my sponsor know I'm live real quick. I knew I was going live, but sometimes she takes a nap. Anyway, it has been a long week. Long week. You're welcome. You're welcome. That's what we do. It's how the program works. Believe me, that is how we work it. Anyways, for you, the newcomers, welcome. If you're watching the replay and don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, just subscribe and hit the thumbs up button. Lets me know that other people are all right, Tony. Lets me know that people are coming and getting the help that they may need, whether it's with alcoholism or addictions or even, to quit smoking or whatever it is. You can apply the AA program to help you for just about everything. Once you know how to work your program, you can use it for just about everything. And another thing that I do these meetings for is to also help those with family members with alcoholism and such things that they can help a family member or a friend to know where that they can help guide them through to getting to that point of wanting to get out of drinking every day or drinking, overly excessive or whatever the issue may be. To help those who are suffering. And I found that these meetings that I am doing has helped people also know what to say to those people who are not sure what to say to them, who are still out there and drinking. So those are reasons why I do these meetings and why I show up for these meetings as long as I have service, because sometimes I go up to the mountain and get away from it all, or I go to the river and go clear my thoughts. And, that's how I work my program. Anyways, I'm Sandra, and I'm an alcoholic. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So, please refrain from judgment and don't go to other people's channels because they're in the chat. Does not mean that they are the alcoholic. Does not mean that they are an addict. They could just be here to support my channel and listen to my sharing of how these groups have helped me to stay sober for 10 years and almost 9 months. And so that's what I'm doing this for. And I always put in the description what book we're reading, the page, the step, the tradition, everything I usually put in the description. And if you are not sure where to find that in the video, under the video when it's uploaded to YouTube, it does have the more button. You hit that and it will pop the description and it should show you all of that information. So if you're watching the replay, you can follow along that way. You don't have to have a book because I'm going to read it anyways and just share things that I've done to help myself through these things. Anyways, so 1, we admitted we are powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. 7, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continue to take personal inventory and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12. Having had spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Now I'm going to read the traditions because we are in the traditions part. 1. Our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. 2. For our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as He may express Himself in our group conscious. Our leaders are but trusted servants, they do not govern. 3. The only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. 4. Each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. 5. Each group has one primary purpose: to carry its message to alcoholics who still suffer. 6. An AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprises, lest problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. 7. Every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8. Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9. AA as such ought never be organized but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10. Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. 11. Our public relation policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. 12. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. I always get tongue-tied on that part. And so we are on tradition 3. And I see you, Cheryl. I see you. Everybody knows Lily's here. Tony's here. Tradition 3. The only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. This tradition is packed with meaning, for AA is really saying to every serious drinker, you are an AA member if you say so. You can declare yourself in. Nobody can keep you out, no matter who you are, no matter how low you've gone, no matter how grave your emotional complications, even your crimes. We still can't deny you AA. We don't want to keep you out. We aren't a bit afraid you'll harm us. Never mind how twisted or violent you may be. We just want to be sure that you get the same great chance for sobriety that you've had, or that we've had, sorry. So you're an AA member the minute you declare yourself. To establish this principle of membership took years of harrowing experience in our early time. Nothing seemed so fragile, so easily breakable as an AA group. Hardly an alcoholic we approached paid any attention. Most of those who did join us were like flickering candles in a windstorm. Time and time, their uncertain flames blew out and couldn't be relighted. Our unspoken constant thought was, which of us may be next? A member gives us a vivid glimpse of those days. At one time, he says every AA group had many membership rules. Everybody was scared witless that something or somebody would capsize the boat and dump us all back into the drink. Our foundation office asked each group to send in its list of protective regulations. The total list was a mile long. If all those rules had been in effect everywhere, nobody could have possibly joined AA at all. So great was the sum of our anxiety and fear. All right, Cheryl, thank you. We were resolved to admit nobody to AA, but that hypothetical class of people we termed pure alcoholics, except for their guzzling and the unfortunate results thereof. They could have no other complications. So beggars, tramps, asylums, inmates, prisoners, queers, plain crackpots, and fallen women were definitely out. Not in this day and age, it ain't. Yes, sir, we cater only to pure and respectable alcoholics. Any others would surely destroy us. Besides, if we took in those odd ones, what would decent people say about us? Or decent, sorry. We built a fine mesh fence right around AA. Maybe this sounds comical now. Maybe you think we old-timers were pretty intolerant. But I can tell you there was nothing funny about the situation then. We were grim because we felt our lives and homes were threatened, and that was no laughing matter. Intolerant, you say? Well, we were frightened. Naturally, we began to act like most everybody does when afraid. After all, isn't fear the true basis of intolerance? Yes, we were intolerant. How could we then guess that all those fears were to prove groundless. How could we know that thousands of these sometimes frightened people were to make astonishing recoveries and become our great workers and intimate friends? Was it credible that AA was to have a divorce rate far lower than average? Could we then foresee that troublesome people were to become our principal teachers in patience and tolerance? Could any then imagine a society which would include every conceivable kind of character and cut across every barrier of race, creed, politics, and language with ease? Why did AA finally drop all its membership regulations? Why did we leave it to each newcomer to decide himself whether he was an alcoholic and whether he should join us? Why did we dare to say, contrary to the experience of society and government everywhere, that we would neither punish nor deprive any AA of membership, that we must never compel anyone to pay anything, believe anything, or conform to anything? The answer, now seen in Tradition 3, was simplicity itself. At last, experience taught us that to take away any alcoholic's whole chance was sometimes to pronounce his death, his off date, and often to condemn him to endless misery who dared to be judge, jury, and oftener of his own sick brother. As group after group saw these possibilities, they finally abandoned all membership regulations. One dramatic experience after another cliched this determination until it became our universal tradition. Here are two examples. On the AA calendar, it was year 2. In that time, nothing could be seen but two struggles, nameless groups of alcoholics trying to hold their faces up to the light. A newcomer appeared at one of these groups, knocked on the door, and asked to be let in. He talked frankly with that group's oldest member. He soon proved that his was a desperate case, and that above all he wanted to get well. But he asked, "Will you let me join your group? Since I am the victim of another addiction, even worse, stigmatized, than alcoholism. You may not want me among you, or will you?" There was a dilemma. What should the group do? The oldest member summoned two others, and in confidence laid the explosive fact in their laps. Said he, "Well, what about it? If we turn this man away, he'll soon pass. If we allow him in, only God knows what trouble he'll brew." What shall the answer be? Yes or no? At first, the elders could look only at the objections. We deal, they said, with alcoholics only. Shouldn't we sacrifice this one for the sake of the many? So went the discussion, while the newcomer's fate hung in the balance. Then one of the three spoke in a very different voice. What are we really afraid of? He said. Is our reputation? We are much more afraid of what people might say than the trouble this strange alcoholic might bring. As we've been talking, 5 short words have been running through my mind. Something keeps repeating to me. What would the master do? Not another word was said. What more indeed could be said? Overjoyed, the newcomer plunged into 12-step work. Tirelessly, he laid AA's message before scores of people. Since this was a very early group, the scores have since multiplied themselves into thousands. Never did he trouble anyone with his other difficulty. AA had taken its first step in the formation of Tradition 3. Not long after the man with the double stigma knocked for admission, AA's other group received into its membership a salesman we shall call Ed. A power driver, this one, and brash as any salesman could possibly be. He had at least an idea a minute on how to improve AA. These ideas had sold to fellow members with the same burning enthusiasm with which he distributed automobile polish, but he had an idea that wasn't so saleable. Ed was an atheist. His pet obsession was that AA could be a long better without its God nonsense. He browbeat everybody and everybody accepted that he'd soon get drunk. For at the time, you see, AA was on the pious side. There must be a heavy penalty, and it was thought, for blasphemy, whatever that word is. Distressingly enough, Ed proceeded to stay sober. At length, the time came for him to speak in a meeting. We shivered, for we knew what was coming. He paid a fine tribute to the fellowship. He told how his family had been reunited. He extolled the virtue of honesty. He recalled the joys of 12-step work, and then he lowered the boom, cried Ed. I can't stand his God stuff. It's a lot of malarkey for weak folks. This group doesn't need it, and I won't have it. 2H hockey sticks with it. Sorry, there might be kids watching, and I'm not going to say this word. A great wave of outraged resentment engulfed the meeting, sweeping every member to a single resolve. Out he goes. The elders led Ed aside. They said firmly, "You can't talk like this around here. You'll have to quit it or get out." With great sarcasm, Ed came back at them. Now do tell, is that so? He reached over to a bookshelf and took up a sheet of paper. On top of them lay a foreword to the book. Alcoholics Anonymous, then under preparation, he read aloud. The only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. Relentlessly, Ed went on. When you guys wrote that sentence, did you mean it or didn't you? This made the elders look at one another, for they knew he had them cold. So Ed stayed. Ed not only stayed, he stayed sober. Month after month, the longer he kept dry, the louder he talked against God. The group was in anguish so deep that all fraternal charity had vanished. When, oh when, groaned members to one another, will that guy get drunk? Quite a while later, Ed got a sales job. Took him out of town. At the end of a few days, the news came in. He'd sent a telegram for money, and everybody knew what that meant. Then he got on the phone. In those days, we'd go anywhere on a 12-step job, no matter how unpromising, but this time nobody stirred. Leave him alone. Let him try it by himself for once. Maybe he'll learn a lesson. About 2 weeks later, Ed stole by night into an AA member's house and, unknown to the family, went to bed. Daylight found the master of the house and another friend drinking their morning coffee. A noise was heard on the stairs. To their concentration, Ed appeared, a quizzical smile on his lips. He said, "Have you fellows had your morning meditation?" They quickly sensed that he was quite in earnest. In fragments, his story came out. In the neighboring state, Ed had holed up in a cheap hotel after all his pleas for help had been rebuffed. These words rang in his fevered mind. Love you too. They had deserted me. I have been deserted by my own kind. This is the end. Nothing is left. As he tossed on his bed, his hands brushed the bureau nearby, touching a book. Opening the book, he read it. It was a Gideon Bible. Ed never confided any more of what he saw and felt in that hotel room. It was the year 1938. He hasn't had a drink since. Nowadays, when old-timers who know Ed bored greater than exclaim, what if we had actually succeeded in throwing Ed out for blasphemy? I don't know how to pronounce some of these words, so what would have happened to him and all the others he later helped? So, the hand of the Providence early gave us a sign that any alcoholic is a member of our society when he says so. Now, I didn't have a highlighter at the time. The last time I read through this book, which was, I don't know, a while back. It's been the beginning of the year since I read this book. So I did the little arrows on the, I'll show you what I did. See the little arrow there? Because I didn't have a highlighter. So I do that even when I don't have a highlighter. I mark it. Anyway, so this is what I marked. This tradition is packed with meaning. For AA is really saying to every serious drinker, you are an AA member if you say so. You can declare yourself in anybody, or you can declare yourself in. Nobody can keep you out, no matter who you are, no matter how low you've gone, no matter how grave your emotional complications, even your crimes. We still can't deny you AA. We don't want to keep you out. We aren't a bit afraid you'll harm us. Never mind how twisted or violent you may be. We just want to be sure that you get the same great chance for sobriety that you've had, or that we've had. So you're an AA member the minute you declare yourself. The minute you declare yourself a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. And this is why I always say, no matter how many times you fall off your wagon, if you have ever been to AA and you've caught something in that meeting that clicks, it might take you a little bit to realize that it clicked. For me, it was my first meeting it clicked. That was a little less than 10 years ago. Maybe it was about. No, it's coming up. So, anyways, I think I was about 4 months sober, 5 months sober when I first started AA. And the first thing I did was, after that first meeting, I had already been sober for a while, but I didn't go to AA until a friend said, there's a meeting. So I went to that meeting. And they did not tell me I didn't belong. They did not tell me that I couldn't be there. They did not tell me that I shouldn't be there. They welcomed me like I was supposed to be there. How you would expect to be treated when you walk into a workplace or a family member's home. They welcomed me with open arms, and I didn't talk for a few meetings, but I had 2 sponsors. I had one that was my regular sponsor, and I had another sponsor that was employed at the same place I was. She had a lot more years than me. She had more years than my sponsor does, my home group sponsor. And so she had quite a long time. And one thing she said to me that still sticks with me today is, use your voice. Get your voice and use it. And that's what I learned how to do from her. And with her, the times that I would message her, she knew something was off. Just because of a way that I would type a word or whatever, she could know that something was wrong. And she would ask me, what's wrong? And so, I would tell her what was going on and how I was feeling and all that, because I was up there on the mountain. I didn't have anybody that could really relate to me after she left when I was working up there, and so I talked to her all the way up until she passed away. And she always told me when she was feeling like she could have had a drink, but she remembered that she needed to drink coffee instead. That late, somebody will always come to you in a part of your life when you least expect it. You need that person. I needed that person. I needed her to come into my life when she did. I only worked with her one season, and it still sticks with me. And I don't know. And from her telling me that I need to use my voice, I've used my voice about AA ever since. Ever since. But after my first meeting and feeling so welcome, I decided that I was going to find out when the next meeting was. I did not know anything about needing or possibly needing a sponsor after that first meeting, but I called 3 numbers on the list for meetings because I got a females list for at that first meeting. And so I called 2 numbers, they didn't answer, and I don't like to leave voicemails. That's just me. I don't like listening to them, and I don't like leaving them. Just, that's me. That's how I've always been. And my sponsor answered her phone. She's been my sponsor ever since. And I use my voice for this purpose. People don't know that there is a meeting everywhere. There's a meeting at every hour on the clock. You don't have to be there on time. You don't have to go in. You can sit outside, and when somebody comes outside and you need help, we help you. We don't care if you're still drunk when you come to your first meeting. We are there to help. That's why when you start your AA journey and it sticks with you, why I don't have a problem saying I'm a recovering alcoholic. Because of those rooms. Those people in those meetings and those newcomers coming into those meetings, you will reach somebody. I know I have touched people here on these meetings, even though I'm not the best looking person. I don't do it for any specific reason other than helping the next alcoholic. And that's it. Not everybody can make it to a meeting. We've got people in hi Tar. We've got people in nursing homes that can't go to meetings. We've got people in jails that can't go to meetings. We've got there's people that need meetings everywhere at all hours of the day and night. And when you can help someone, it makes you know that this work that I do and reminds me of why I do it and why I stay sober. Yeah, I stay sober for me. First and foremost is me. The AA is number one, and that's how we have to live, because if we can't do it for ourselves, you're not doing it for a real reason. You got people who say, oh, I'm quitting for my kid, or I'm quitting for my wife, I'm quitting for this, I'm quitting for that. No. You do it for you. And because you want to. For that right reason. You can't go through life doing stuff for everybody else and not think of you. I tried for a long time. I tried to not think of putting my mind and my heart and my sobriety. I didn't put that first. If maybe I had found AA before I ever got into the alcoholic self that I became, maybe I never would have. But I did. And it happened for a reason. And now I'm not shy to say that, yeah, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I'm going to be for the rest of my life. Even if I fall off the wagon, because, we can't say that we won't, or that we never will. Because we don't know that. We can't go that far ahead. But we do have for today. And today I choose my sobriety over everything else. So, tomorrow I'm going to see my sponsor. I'm going to visit with her for a while, and it's going to be a good day, whether it's all great for the day or whether it's just great for that time of the day. Hey, you know, we all have a purpose. And I quit drinking without this purpose in mind. But it is a purpose for me now. And I'm going to continue sharing and saying that, yes, I'm a recovering alcoholic, because, you never know who you might help. Just me saying it at the workplace, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I have had a few people come to me and say, did I hear you right? I'm like, yes, you heard me right. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I'm going to forever be a recovering alcoholic. And they're like, really? How long you got? And I've done that ever since Judy told me to use my voice. And believe me, she's up there. She's watching me. I could hear her now if I wasn't doing this. She'd be like, why aren't you doing your service work? You need to be doing something, and you ain't going to go out and do that now. No, I can't bail you out of jail. That's what she used to always say, even though she never had to. But that's who she was. And I have my sponsor that I should talk to more often. But I always get wrapped into some other doings, So today is August 10th. You have to use your voice for your sobriety, Lil. But not, I can't say that. Anyways. Redoubling our effort. To a degree, he has already done this when taking moral inventory, but now the time has come when he ought to rebound his efforts to see how many people he has hurt and in what ways. 12 Steps, 12 Traditions, page 77. As I continue to grow in sobriety, I become more aware of myself as a person of worth. In the process, I am better able to see others as persons. And with this comes the realization that these were people whom I had hurt in my drinking days. I don't just lie. I lied about Tom. I didn't just cheat, I cheated. So what were seemingly impersonal acts were really personal affronts, because it was people of worth whom I had harmed. I need to do something about the people I have hurt so that I may enjoy a peaceful sobriety. And That's needing. Just remember, sobriety needs to be first. Everything else comes second. And if family members and friends don't understand that, then that's their problem. So, anyways, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. Really, it does. Love you guys. Oops.